Hello guys, welcome to Daddy Share Space and welcome to my shop. So today I just pulled out an array of tools here. Basically I'm just calling this video multi-plat. It's just a few of my thoughts on being multi-platform. So right here I've got obviously a Festool tool. This is the TS55 HKC. I've got the DeWalt drywall sander. It's the DCE 800. Here I have a Milwaukee brushless ratchet. It is the 2560-20, and then I have this Makita, the XDS01, and then of course I have the Lamello Zeta P2. So basically what I want to touch on in this video is why these are tools that, in my opinion, that warrant multi-plat. So a lot of times when you want to choose a platform for your tools or to build out your shop, it's convenient to stick with one brand. However, these are some tools that I picked up across different brands that I find for me to be pretty valuable. These are tools that pique my interest. What I have represented here obviously is the drywall sander, a construction cutting saw with the proprietary rail. It basically does the function of a miter saw. I've got a joinery device that is specific to Lamello's brand. This is not something you can get in another brand. Or this drywall saw I find to be very nice. I have a video about it. And then of course, you know, I've got my ratchet. So if you've been watching my channel, you know that I work on my own cars. So that's where I find that owning the Milwaukee brand ratchets, and it's been very helpful working on my vehicles. It also is helpful for like when I go say to a place like Pick and Pull. I don't have to spend as much time there because of these tools. Now I know that DeWalt does make a few of these ratchets, but I feel like Milwaukee makes the more extensive line of ratchet or auto mechanic style tools like this, and so that would be why I personally would want to be in the Milwaukee brand so that I could work on my cars. Now Makita has, from what I can see, a lot of nice tools. I think I may have maybe 4 Makita tools in the shop. The other ones that I have a router, I have the track saw, and I have an impact that I got for free when I bought my track saw. Those tools can be replaced in any other brand. But this particular tool right here, which is a drywall cutting tool, it has a very unique blade here. This gives you the ability to, like if you're working in say finished property and you want to, say you had a hole in the wall and you wanted to cut out a section to repair it with a patch, this tool is pretty nice to use in the fact that, you know, you can set the depth to whether it be your 1/2 inch or 5/8 inch drywall thickness, and you can cut along without injuring anything behind the wall, you know, studs or any kind of electrical wiring or whatever. When I unboxed this particular tool, I believe one of the things I said, and if I didn't, I'll say it now. To me, this is a specialty tool. However, I feel like this is a tool that would be very useful for like a novice or someone that is not super skilled in drywall, because you can use a multi-tool to do it, but not all the multi-tools come with like depth settings so that you can be precise. The control of this is very much like, almost like using a jigsaw, but of course you have the smaller blade, so you can just cut along your area on the drywall so that you can make your repair. So I just feel like this is more of a, in my opinion, it's like more of a dummy proof tool. It does increase productivity for obviously the professional, and most home people won't want to buy this tool. I believe it was only it's under $300 for sure. It might be like in the 170 to 270 range or something like that. It's not super expensive, but for what it does, it's a very unique tool and a very specific tool. This is a specialized tool. It's not for just anything. Now you can cut wood or something with this. You can get a blade for it, but I've never done that. The main thing, like I said, that I like about this is the fact that I feel like this makes it a little bit more user-friendly to work with drywall if you're a novice. Now, obviously, if you're not doing that much, then it's probably not worth buying. But for me, this is a tool that's worth being in a multi-plat, or basically going outside of your main platform to buy. Now, the Lamello Zeta P, it speaks for itself. It's a very expensive tool. However, it is very unique in just being able to join boards. You can put things together temporarily. You can put things together permanently. It has these special proprietary fittings that give you the ability to put things together and take them back apart. And building with this tool, it's almost like putting together Legos or something like that. The domino is obviously a great alternative as well, but this particular tool, their fittings that are knockdown are a little bit more innovative as far as they're not as robust as the Festool ones, but they're also a lot more simple. So this is an excellent like prototype tool, or like if you wanted to do like say slat walls, this is definitely a go-to tool as far as that. So this is a tool that I believe that if you have the budget, it's definitely worth going outside of your platform to get. Now, right here, we have the DeWalt drywall sander. Now, Makita does make a drywall sander, very similar, as battery powered as well. And yeah, that would be a comparable alternative. However, if you happen to be in a Milwaukee brand, they don't offer a drywall sander. And then, you know, obviously if you're in Ryobi or any of those brands, they also don't offer a drywall sander. So that's why I have it up here. You do have two options when it comes to this drywall sander. But I do think that for myself personally, if I was all Milwaukee or you know, some other brand that did not offer a drywall sander, I think this is definitely a tool that you should consider to look at. These two tools can work in well together. Like, you know, if you say someone knocks a big hole in the wall, you can go with this tool to cut out around it, make you a nice little square or rectangle around your site, you know, stopping at the midline of your studs. And then you can get your, you know, cut out your piece of sheetrock, whether it be 1/2 inch or 5/8, pop it up in there, screw it in with your drywall gun, and then go back, mud and tape it. And then you can bring this in to do all your sanding. Now, of course, you don't really need this for smaller jobs. However, it's very useful if you do have a nicer size job, or if you want to be a little bit more aggressive. This is a nice tool to have. The other benefit to this particular tool, not above the Makita, because the Makita, they do have a cordless dust extractor, but the DeWalt has their FlexVolt dust extractor, and it does have the auto clean feature. It is battery powered, so this solution here, so even though you can get a drywall sander in the Festool brand, if you want a battery powered one, you have to go with either the DeWalt or the Makita. And both Makita and DeWalt offer battery powered drywall sanders, as well as the vacuum that can go with it. So you could be a totally cordless option. So this is another tool that I feel like, in my opinion, is worth being multi-plat. Now, moving over here to the Festool HKC saw. This is like, if you don't want a miter saw, you may be able to get away with a saw like this, because it can cut miters from 45 all the way to 60. You have 3 different types of sizes of rails that you can use with this, so you can cut longer pieces of wood, and then of course you can just use it as a standard circular saw if you wanted to. Now, albeit it is a bit underpowered running on the one battery, it is a very convenient saw to use, and it's very unique. Now again, with this one, you do have a secondary option. That option would be Mafel, but if you think Festool is expensive, go check out the price of a Mafel. It'll blow this out of the water as far as pricing. Now, I don't know about the power capabilities or the trade-off as far as that, but it would be really cool, just being honest, if say a lower tier brand like DeWalt or Milwaukee or even Makita came up with their own version of this saw. And that's kind of like culminating what I'm talking about here, what I'm saying, multi-plat. It would be nice if Milwaukee had one of these, or Makita had a larger array of ratchets, or DeWalt had a larger array of ratchets and impacts. Now, I know they do have these things, but they don't have, you know, in my opinion, Milwaukee is the leader when it comes to automotive equipment. And then as far as joinery equipment, Festool has their joinery device, but DeWalt, they do have, I believe, a battery powered biscuit joiner, as well as Makita. Milwaukee doesn't have anything like that. So imagine if these other brands came out with something more sophisticated like this, especially if they came in with a lower price range. You know, you can't copy a device that's under patent, but if they had the innovation to create something, you know, similar, that offered their customers a similar approach to work or a similar functionality, I think that would be very helpful, you know, because like Milwaukee is a very extensive brand. They've got all kinds of tools, you know, plumbing, electrical. Now they've gotten into the woodworking and all of that type of stuff. So I think that you can't, as a consumer, force these companies to build everything. But I do think it would be really cool if, you know, some of the other brands made some of these specialty tools so that a person could, if they wanted to, just stay in their own platform. That would be, you know, pretty nice. Personally, I don't regret trying out all these different brands and all these different platforms, but you know, these are just been a couple of tools that I personally like to utilize and that I feel like are worth a look. Now, when you talk about, say, if you get this DeWalt drywall sander and then you talk about this extractor that goes with it, the main drawback to that extractor is it doesn't appear that DeWalt makes bags, custom bags that fit for it. And that's where I would elevate the Festool dust extractor above the offering that DeWalt makes, because, you know, obviously they make bags for their stuff. It's a standardized thing for them to have proper support. For my dust extractor, I did a video on it a long time ago. I had my wife help me to sew up a bag that's reusable for that dust extractor so that, you know, I can use it. But anyways, guys, it's just a video sharing my thoughts about a few tools that I like as far as that are in different brands. All right, I want to thank you guys for taking time to watch the video, and I'll see you in my next one.